I think your dad is cool because I would have sent dowry on M-Pesa if it was just me and him. Like he's cool like that.
He's out.
My name is Benjamin Waka. I am a pastor, I'm a musician, and a media personality. And today we're having a conversation on fatherhood.
My name is Tess Waka. I love the Lord. Christ is my life. I am a wife, happy wife. I'm also a media personality. I'm specialized as a radio presenter. I'm an event organizer and an advertising consultant. And today I'm super excited. I love talking about family. Family is amazing.
What about family do you love exactly?
I love us, just us. And if this is to go by, I think we'll make a very good family when we are more than two.
All right.
What do you think? Okay. Say what? No, we're not continuing this conversation.
Okay. So I think we're talking about fatherhood and having good relationships with good relationship with your father and things like that. But I would ask you, what is a good relationship look like to you?
With the father?
Yes.
I think the other day I told you, remember that you asked me what is it that makes a good relationship with a father? I think is
in an African context.
Did you have to go there? In an African context,
I'm kidding.
It's when they are able to be both a parent and a friend. That for me is heaven.
Yeah, I think that puts context into what we're saying today. Yeah.
Yeah, because of the African society, you can't put friend and parent. In one statement.
Yeah, and my dad was he was a kind of a parent that friendship was not there. Friendship we just got it much later on. But then the issue with being a parent, he was.
So I think what we're saying is there's aspects of being a father.
Yes.
There's the father that needs to be a parent. There's the father that needs to be a mentor.
A friend, yeah.
There's the father that needs to be a friend.
Yes.
Sana poko friend for me. I think I want to go with this one. Every time I'm reading these questions, I cannot stop thinking about your dad because it's very funny. All right. So when you think about your father, what is the first memory that comes to your mind and why? I know we have our memory. This is for you. Let me not steal your moment.
Of course, you met him at that particular point, but for me, it's the father figure. For me, it was not this guy who was probably funny or a disciplinarian.
Yeah.
When we talk about father, the first thing that comes to my mind is just somebody who's just seated over there and is just around in the house. That's what a father is to me. What about you?
Wow. Well, for me, a gentleman. My goodness. Oh, I don't know how to have this conversation because it's very personal for me. Everything that I speak is from my experience with my father, and I really give God the glory. But memory is, he's such a gentleman, man. He's such a gentleman. He's the kind of man, father, the kind of man that would open doors, the kind of man that would be like, is it a good time to talk? Can I?
I remember, he can't call me past 8. He's like, that's too late.
Imagine he's like,
that's nice.
He can call me at 8, but he can't call you because he feels, no, I need to ask him. That's being a gentleman. So I think for me, that's it. And you were to say a memory. This one was for a memory, yeah.
I think he was...
both the tough ones and the good ones.
He was protective. He was a disciplinarian. He was always present. Yeah, and then fun was like the balance of everything that, the balance of it all. Yeah,
I've not interacted with him a lot, but I love the way he lights up the room. He is so funny, my goodness. Yeah. Your dad is so fun. I think for me, the memory that I love most is when I grew up. So my dad is very hardworking, goodness. If I could work hard as much as him, I'd be very rich. He's very hardworking. And when we grew up, alikuwa very, very, very serious on family time, and he took leave. We would know when my dad is on leave. He would tell us, from this date and this date, I'll be in the house, because he was traveling, he was busy, and that's where I get my seriousness of leave, because he was like, leave is time for family, and every time that dad was around, there'd be days for chapo, there'd be days for the house would be different. It would be like, why is dad in the house
the reason
at
why
8:30 in the morning?
The reason why I'm laughing is because my dad was not, when he would be on leave, he would look for a place to go and live. So if
To
he's
not
at
be in the
home,
house.
we go and look at, so that's the time you plan your time. You know, I'm going to my
You
friend's
remember you need to
house.
go to the library.
Yes, because he will wake up in the morning, he's there. He would want to watch the news or something, you know, he would put CNN.
Disrupt the
and
house.
That was very boring for us, you know, and then our house was very small, so there's nowhere else we would go. So we would go out
nice.
and just sit.
So what is the one thing that you wish you understood about your father?
Well, it's not really that I wish I understood, it's what I understand right now. For me, I think once I started growing up, looking at some of the things that he's been through, how he's raised up and the family that he's managed to build, how all of us are doing, what we've been able to achieve and things like that. I kind of get him, and I think for me that's success on his side. That he was able to achieve all that with us despite his background, where he's coming from. I think he did well for himself. So I think that's one of the things that I understand and challenges me about fatherhood, because I'm thinking, will I be able or bring myself to the place where I will raise up children to turn out like me and you know, based on my journey, based on what I have.
I think I like what you're saying, that we should judge our parents based on, according to how their background has been. Now put that, because we put standards that are probably contrary to their backgrounds. And your dad is such a storyteller.
Yeah, so what do you wish you understood about your father?
Everything. My dad is cool, but I think for me, I'd want to understand his relationships, because he has mysteries that we can't understand in terms of relationships. Like now, the recent year, it's been a very hard year for my family when Mom went to be with God, and I actually realized that my dad is very close with his sisters. Something that I didn't know.
What is his greatest strength?
He's very affectionate. He shows it. He's not an African man. He shows it. He cries, he loves, he says, I love you. He says, you look amazing. He's very affectionate. I think that is a strength that he has. And he's so hardworking. My goodness. That's
the second time. I'm not hardworking. Are you trying to
wait for your kids to come and say that about you, please.
Okay.
But he's very hardworking. All through our life, we didn't deserve the life that we were raised. You know, we keep saying that I come from a rich background. Babe, it's not true. Is that I come from a background that had a very hardworking man. We're not really, he would make sure that we get the best of everything.
All right.
Yeah. What is
his greatest strength?
My
dad, for us, I think one of the things that he managed to do to bring us close as his family was laughter.
Yeah.
He's the kind of person that would say, today I want us to read the Bible. He was a pastor. He is a pastor. Today I want us to read the Bible. And then he would call us all, you know, from today, I've realized that we need to pray together as a family. And you guys, so you know, Reso begins at 8.
Yes.
And he wants to begin, having fellowship at 7. And you just know, like, Kusha, today we are not even enjoying wrestling.
He's so
this is
also.
it, you know? And he would go on and go on and go on and talk and talk and talk and talk. And so the best thing was his laughter. The other thing was passion. He was really passionate about the things that he loved, the things that he enjoyed to do. He was really passionate about them. So I think when it comes to passion, I picked up from him when we look at, what was his greatest strength.
You know, it's just hitting me that you're the only guy, you're the only boy, and so there's just some aspect of your father that's coming out right now. But it's good things. It's good things. Let's see.
In your opinion?
No, I don't answer that. No, I'm kidding.
In your opinion?
I've never figured out.
What was his greatest weakness? In your opinion? It's your opinion. At least it's not his weakness.
I think you even know, because of late we've interacted with my dad a lot together. Not as... But he usually doesn't know when to put boundaries. Yeah, he's a gentleman. He's like you. kind, and sometimes you don't need to be kind. Sometimes you need to be the Lion of Judah. His greatest weakness is he usually doesn't know how to put
To say no.
Yeah, to say no, to put boundaries. So it's like, okay, so my daughter needs me to go to Nairobi. My sister needs me to go to his graduation. Maybe I would expect like that. There's no negotiation. Go to your daughters. That is like, okay, you know, it's a good weakness.
It's a difficult thing for people like us. Is we never want to disappoint people.
Us meaning.
So you said I look like him,
Kind
but
people.
I'm just thinking.
People who are kind.
Yes,
Yeah.
we don't want to disappoint somebody else. So what we'd rather do is, because you're with us, we can disappoint ourselves.
Because you can reconcile with us.
Yeah, and then you will understand than mess up a relationship with this other person.
That's what you do.
No, I'm just saying that's what we think.
What was or is his greatest weakness?
His greatest weakness, I think, being too much of a disciplinarian kind of put us off a lot with him.
Aliwatandika.
There's one day I took his watch and went to school with it. When I came back, and then he knew that I had taken it. I don't know how he knew it. I don't know if I left it in my bag, and then it was those watches that it had just come out. So the alarm was a chicken.
Wow, you're such
Going
a
like,
lawyer.
go, go, go. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. So I think I left it in my bag, and then he looked for it. He didn't find it, and then he had it from my bag. So that was, so he went and he told me, today you will suffer. Today you will die. So he took hot water, boiled it, put salt, and then he went and asked guys to bring pepper from, the mama bogas and stuff, so from the grocery store, and then he put the cane in that water, and he was telling me it's going in the kwakali. It's going to be so painful because of the pepper, because of the salt and the hot water. Of course now he was just playing with our minds, but then he was too much, and then he was a policeman.
So he was disciplining you like
so he didn't. Yes, we were like, if you mess up in a house, you are going to be you're treated like a criminal. It's like you're guilty until
proven
innocent.
Marriage
in what ways?
Marriage things.
Has your relationship with your dad affected you?
Most of our conflicts come from the place that there are certain things that I'm used to because of how my dad would shield me from some things because he was my dad. You are not my dad. You cannot treat me like my dad. Yeah. So for example, when we have the issues of when you're correcting me, I've done something wrong, I cannot take it when you're harsh because my dad would tell me, Mami, unajua nakupenda lakini ni makosa. And then out there people don't do that. Yeah. People are like, well, you've messed up. What's this? I can't handle it. So it affected me in a way that I'm expecting every man to be as sweet as my dad, even when they're angry. We've had this conversation because when my dad is angry, he's still sweet. He's still a loving father. And he's so angry at you, you've done something wrong. And so I'm coming with that mindset to marriage that. And you see, I'm not your daughter. Yeah, I'm not your daughter, even if you try and...
Yeah. The thing is, for me, is I'm looking at my journey and what has brought me to where I am and the kind of men I've interacted with as mentors. So in my head, that is how a man was supposed to be. And this also just landed us into issues in our marriage because I was like, no, you're a woman. You should listen to what I say, because I was emulating the kind of men that I have seen, people that have molded for me who a man is supposed to be, a father, a husband, and things like that. And I didn't know this other side.
Yeah.
So when you're telling me that I need you to correct you softly when you have done something wrong, I'm like, no. There's no emotions.
Yes.
This thing has been done wrong, so let's square it.
Yeah.
Why do you want me to, to go like, oh,
like, I'm still your babe. No.
Babe. Let's handle these things after, then I can switch to this other guy.
And may want you to be the same time.
Yeah, and that was very, very, very difficult for me to do.
Different.
Because it meant that I had to control whether it was anger, emotions, whatever it is that I was dealing, I had to control it before I come to you, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think before I ask you on your side, one of the ways that my relationship with my dad even affected me in how I relate is there are standards that my dad set for me, which are amazing, because were it not for that relationship I had with my dad, one of the things that made me pay interest with you is you're a gentleman. You're so sweet to people, not just to me.
Please.
Like,
Ati, what have you said?
director, make sure up and work advert. Yeah, so if I knew that this is how a man should treat someone because I had seen it from my dad. So when I saw how you treated, I mean, he's the only guy. He has 5 sisters.
Yeah.
I saw how he's treating them and how he's treating ladies in church. He's not a gentleman just with me. Of course, with me, there's kuna gentleman level 3, but he's a gentleman with every woman. And I realized that because I had seen it from my dad. And that was a good thing. And also just being able to be friends with your parent has made me be able to have conversations, because I know that, for example, when I meet people that are like my dad, you were telling Emily that I'm able to bring that friendly side of them.
Yeah.
We go for an interview,
it's
and
crazy.
the CEO is the CEO in the interview, and I bring out the friendly dad in him, and that has come from my relationship with my dad. But also it has had its negative effects. The pros and cons, we were saying the other day, we were having this conversation, that now sometimes you need to know, he's your friend, he's sweet, but there's a place. He's your dad. He's not your age mate. He's not your, because sometimes there's some form of, I wouldn't call it entitlement, but I would tell my dad, no, daddy, you can't buy a car. The car is okay. That's his decision. But because we're so close, I'm feeling you need to consult me on this and all those. So it has had its majority of it has been positive. There's just another aspect that he can be too good that he spoils you for the world, because the world is not like your father.
And then you, of course, the confidence that you exude mostly comes from that relationship as well.
So for parents that are listening, or people that are hoping to be parents one day, it's very important to have all those things that your child needs. When they need a friend, they need a pastor, they need a mentor, but then they should have their places.
And also there's the typical African dad. A typical African dad. There's things that they will not do unless if it is their personality or somebody has helped them to break that. But the African dad, you know, my dad, I can't call him and tell him I'm crying or I'm heartbroken or something like that. Excuse me. So
you have the Holy Spirit for that.
Yes, I can't bring that to my dad. He will kill me. He will tell me I'm not man enough. So
the African
there's
aspect,
that.
You said something that needs to be broken, because sometimes we can settle for things because it's our culture. What do you think, even as believers and as a church, that can be the hope for such things, when we keep joking about that time that this thing trended where men were told to call their dads and tell them they love them, and the dad was like, "Nitume M-Pesa." Like, it was very weird. But what hope is there for the African culture to loosen up that?
I think we're changing, we're evolving. The kind of generations that keep on coming are very different. And so with that, I think that's the hope that we have.
So there
and
is
we
hope.
have to excuse our fathers. That's why I began by saying, you look at their journey. If you grew up where they grew up, if you had the same teachers, if you had to fight your way through life the way they did, you would
probably
not come
judge them
out
differently.
No, you would not come out like them. You'd actually be worse. Yeah, so there's that aside. Like for me, I felt somehow when I was not, like for instance, I was learning stuff about ministry and not from my dad. It's from other pastors that have pastored me. And I was wondering, where am I learning this from them? And this is what my dad has done. Yeah. But the good thing, let me not say
Before we answer this last one, I think I'd want us to encourage everyone that is watching, especially someone that doesn't have a good relationship with,
or doesn't have a father's home.
Yes, or don't have a father for one reason or another. But we can start for you can speak for the men, for a man that is watching, that really the word father is just like any other word. Doesn't have anything.
I think God is that father. As a pastor, I have to put that one out, because I think I was praying one time and I stumbled on Psalm 8 and verse 2. I started crying because I was experiencing a lot of issues with fatherhood. It says, I am your father, and today you have become my son. There's that place where God can take care of your bills. God can make sure that you come out very well. For me, I mean, I was just a random guy.
I'm getting that scripture because
he's gotten me from all those places, the trenches and everything, up until the place where I am right now. When I was going to get married, I was really worried about things like dowry and stuff like that. But then God just covered me in his own ways. So I feel like if there's anyone that has been in that space where they've not had a good relationship with their dad or they don't have a father, it's not the end. God can still make a father out of you. It's you're strong enough to go through that, and without the experiences that you've gone through changing you or making you into somebody.
There's this scripture, I want to read it. We did a conversation on God's fatherly love. 2 Corinthians 6:18. I think it's the scripture you mentioned. And I will be a father to you, and you shall be sons and daughters to me, says the Almighty. I think for me, when I think about someone that doesn't have a good relationship with their dad, especially from a woman's perspective, if you're a girl or woman and you're watching, first of all, I'd like to say that it's not your fault. Yeah, it's not your fault. Whether you're coming from a single parent, it's not that the father just walked. It has nothing to do with you. It's not your fault at all, because that's the place the enemy uses for condemnation, to make you feel like you didn't deserve it. You're worthy of your father's love. It has nothing to do with you. That's his business with God. Whatever. I like what you said, that sometimes our parents, we forget that our parents are children of God. Yeah. They have issues like us. They're our parents, so we expect them to be adults. And so it's not your fault. And secondly, that there is hope for you. And you do not need to relate with God as you relate with your father, because sometimes it affects our relationship with God. I probably have a better relationship with God because of my father and how he's been treating me. And so my prayer is that you will know that the experiences of man have nothing on God. God does not have the standards of man. If my husband today mistreats me and makes marriage awful, it has nothing to do with God. That's an example. He is an example. It has nothing to do. That is Benjamin. He has decided that. And sometimes we take the experiences of our father and relate it with God. And God is waiting for you to just give him a clean state and let him fail you on his own. If father was listening to this
recording. If your father was listening.
Oh, he will.
What would you want him to know?
Don't send it to him. No, I actually felt I should have this conversation with him. I'd want to know the story of the day I was born. They used to have different versions with my mom. So for me, how did they have different versions?
Okay.
So I think for him...
As a father, what would you want him to know?
He is the best, man. I am so glad.
I agree.
I'm so glad that you're my dad. I am so proud of him. And 90% of who I am today has been influenced by him. What about you? So he's watching now. He's like, yes, Benjamin, let me tell him, unataka kuniambia nini? He's very good at
it won't work. But let me probably say that he did his best.
Yeah.
I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him. And as a man, he needs to be so sure and feel proud of what he's been able to accomplish and what he's been able to do. He's always been there. He's taught us we are like this because we stayed with him. So, yeah, I would want him to know that he's special, he's loved. I think your dad is cool because I would have sent dowry on M-Pesa if it was just me and him. Like, he's cool like that. He has, those cool parents that they need uncles and people from the clan to complicate them. But for me, that was amazing. I like how we first met him. We were just like, let's go have...
Please share that.
My dad is passing through town. Let's go and have breakfast with him. So we're there. We're just having breakfast. Of course, you drank my juice, which
he was like,
just gave him the hint that this guy is
this friend.
This friend is not a friend. Yeah.
Kunipa heads up that nakunywa juice yako hata wewe. And my dad is thinking this is just a friend.
Well, he's good like that. And then, I think for me, how he handled the whole process of us getting married was really amazing.
I've seen your text with my dad. He uses kindly and shalom. Oh my goodness. He doesn't use that